Hello, I'm Scott Mercer, Executive Director of Access Framingham. Welcome to this special presentation to recognize Access Framingham's 10-year anniversary and Community Media Day, an annual celebration of voices that brings awareness to the importance of free speech and accessible media for all individuals to have their voices heard. It's also my pleasure and honor to welcome my co-host, one of Access Framingham's founding board members, Cheryl Tully-Stoll. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you very much, Scott. It's great to be here.
I agree.
It's like old home week.
There you go.
Many of you also know me as the chairman of the Framingham Board of Selectmen. But what most folks don't know is that I was one of the original producers when public access debuted in Framingham in the late 1970s. Today, however, we're celebrating 10 years of AFTV serving the town of Framingham. I'm really excited to take a look at where we've been and how far we've come over the last 10 years.
I am as well. Let's get started with a look at the transition of the studio from the Fuller Middle School, which I've been told was actually located in the boys' locker room.
That's correct. A lot of hard work went into finding this location here at 4 Vernon Street, which was followed by a build-out to create multi-functioning facility that would accommodate studio productions, meetings, editing, and other media center activities. Here's how it all came together.
Now that move occurred prior to my arrival last year, and I must say I'm very impressed by the accomplishments and hard work of the board members, former board president Bill Rapkin, volunteers, AFTV staff, and former executive director Bill McColgan. Truly a community effort.
When the first public access studio opened in Framingham, it didn't seem as though we moved at all. It was located at 855 Worcester Road, also known as Trolley Square. When we were forming the Public Access Corporation, we held most of our board meetings in board member Mort Schumann's conference room, which was located also at Trolley Square, directly below the original studio. With a town the size of Framingham, it was quite a coincidence.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, today is Community Media Day. Community access centers throughout the country are celebrating in their communities with special programming, open houses, and collaborations to emphasize the importance of community access television to American communities. It is free speech in its purest form. It's a place where anyone can learn to produce their own programming and air that program for free.
With other forms of media, reaching community-wide audiences such as newspapers, radio, you'd have to either write a short letter to the editor, call into a talk show, or buy advertising to get your message out to the community. So other than paying for space or airtime, you most likely are not going to get the extended period of time to speak out or to educate people about an event or an issue.
Now, Congress understood the importance of a community's access to media. Congress passed the Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984 to promote competition and deregulate the cable industry. Now, pursuant to a section in the Communications Act, local franchising authorities, which are the towns and municipalities, may require cable operators to set aside channels for public, educational, or governmental use and charge a 5% cable franchise fee to fund it in exchange for public rights of way for the cable.
In Framingham, town government works very hard during each cable provider's contract renewal process to not only stabilize the funding of these channels, but also to enhance the quality. For example, if you're an RCN subscriber in Framingham, the new RCN contract we negotiated will give you the first high-definition local public access channel in town.
Now, this is a great victory, especially for those of you with large HD televisions, because all of AFTV's production equipment is high definition, and it's hard for you to see the high-quality productions when it broadcasts in standard definition.
Framingham is fortunate enough to have all three PEG channels: public access, education access, and government access. Framingham Public Access Corporation is doing business as Access Framingham. It also runs the Framingham Education Channel for the town of Framingham.
And AFTV is honored and excited to be partnered with the town to manage the education channel. FEC is doing great work with the students at the high school. With just 2 staff members and students interested in television, FEC covers the school committee meetings, sports activities, and helps produce flyer news. Here's a look at what they've accomplished over the last year.
Framingham High School. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Flyer News.
Standing next to this pretty sick bike, and I'm talking about girls lacrosse.
Larry David's stunt double.
The new Kristen McAuliffe Library finally opened its doors earlier last month.
Last night, the Red Sox were trying to kickstart a win streak.
Today we are going to see some sun with clouds in the afternoon.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out to graduation.
Adele was the big winner of the night, taking home awards including Top Female Artist, and Top Album.
You know who it is. My boy Drake earns a spot in the playlist.
You've represented the class of 2016.
My concern is the cost.
I know how much work was going on for the festival show.
We typically are around $7 or $8 million in capital requests. We may see $3 to $4 million.
I am more than my hair color.
I am more than my nationality.
I am more than a generalization.
I am more than my gender.
This past summer, AFTV also worked with the town to create a television production camp for 2 weeks at the high school. Kids were able to create their own commercials, interview professional boxers, and create original programming. And we look forward to continuing the relationship and expanding the camp in the years ahead.
Just like the Education Channel, With community access television, you have the opportunity to address your community with detailed, unfiltered media messages that you can't necessarily do otherwise. You could have your own YouTube channel or blog site, but you'd have to build a group of followers and find ways to get people to find you. You would also have to have access to a computer and editing software or blogging software and know how to use those tools.
Now at AFTV, we provide the equipment, training, and broadcast time that you need to get your message, story, or entertainment program out to the public. One of our members was recently acknowledged for her commitment and dedication to learning and producing. So who better to hear from than our most recent Bill Rapkin Volunteer of the Year Award recipient at this year's annual meeting.
This year's Volunteer of the Year award goes to someone that came to us an absolute beginner. Am I fair in saying that? Oh, yeah. Okay. After seeing AFTV work with the Rotary Club, she decided to get involved herself. It has been a rough road at times, but she stuck with it. And after we finally figured out the audio issues, because it's always the audio, she's really turned out interesting, well-produced pieces. You've seen her work on the Framingham Beat and also in the beautiful quilt in our hallway out front. Our Bill Rapkin Volunteer of the Year Award for 2016 is Liz Cabrillion. Can we watch the video? I'm gonna read the award. Access Framingham Bill Rapkin Volunteer of the Year Award presented to Liz Cabrillion. Do I say that right? Mm-hmm. Close enough? In recognition of your reporting coverage of events in Framingham and your enthusiasm and determination to learning all aspects of television production, we thank and honor you.
Thank you so much.
And yes, it is always the audio. Although sometimes it's some of the other buttons. And so I think my first big claim to fame was getting a terrific interview in which I set them up perfectly and flipped the button on the camera to basically cut them as soon as I asked the first question. And Frank was very patient about that. What's really fascinating about coming to AF as a complete beginner, and I'm not a techno gal, I'm not a gadget gal, is how patient AF has been throughout. And very, you can always do it, always positive, just keep at it, it happens to everybody, whatever the fiasco was, whatever went wrong, no, just try again, new gear, different gear, keep at it. And they're right, you just have to keep doing it. And I think that was the encouragement, and you'd see other people picking up their gear and humping it out there. And it's scary in the beginning to, you know, sort of put yourself out there and interview people when you never have. But what's really rewarding is to see as soon as you get them past that nervousness of the fact they're going to be interviewed, and of course I'm bumbling around with my gear saying I'm just a novice, their enthusiasm, their message, and they're always like, well, what are you going to ask me? I'm like, it'll be fine. And within 2 minutes, it is fine because you're asking them about what they're passionate about and what they're excited about. And it's really great to fold up my gear and say, you know, you can join this group. It's not that expensive, and they'll teach you all this stuff for free, and you'll get your PR. So if you have anybody, it really doesn't take that long. And that's a great message to be giving to people, too. This really dovetailed really nicely with what I wanted out of Rotary, which was to get more connected in my community. And there was so much going on that I got to shoot that I had no idea was going on around town. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm actually now to the point where I am editing, hopefully, a teeny tiny show about quilting from a local guild and painters that combined that will finally probably air. So I'm slogging along the edit path now, but as usual, everybody's being incredibly helpful. So I never thought I would ever get to that point. And it's really the staff here that made it possible. So thank you so much. I am really stunned and surprised. Thank you.
Now, Liz is a great example of how members can really get the most out of their community access centers. She has learned how to use the camera, edit the footage, tell a story, and so much more. And we're very proud of her progress and commitment. And she's also a Framingham Rotarian. And her participation at AFTV has benefited her organization because she's able to come check out camera equipment to cover the great works and events of the Rotary Club throughout Framingham.
It's a great example of how community access television stations like AFTV also enhance the sense of community in a city, town, or a cable region. Today, with newspapers having fewer and fewer resources, if they're still in business at all, there are so many events that never receive coverage. Community access centers make sure those community events are covered. It's truly a community effort. To give you a sense of how much gets covered by AFTV staff and members, let's take a look at the year in review from 2015.
Welcome to the Framingham Beat.
18 years since the Bancroft building.
I actually think that I've gone back.
Hi, I'm Jen Maceda, the host of the new show, Woman to Woman Today.
Good evening. Good evening, and I welcome you to a political discussion.
Welcome to Novel Ideas, chats with local authors. Thank you for tuning into the Audrey Hall Show, where you'll always learn something new.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting Inceptive Entertainment studio session.
It is an ancient city. It is in the Jordan Valley Plains. It's near Moab Mountains. It's situated on the route that Israel took when Joshua led them across the Jordan River.
Fake is exhausting. You know, when we're not real, it's really, really draining. It's really draining. And so we believe that God wants you, when you look at His Word and just as a value at Connect, that God wants you to be in real, authentic relationships.
The Greater Framingham Community Church has taken the lead in commemorating the life and sharing the message of Dr. King at their annual memorial breakfast. This year's event, held at the Verve Crown Plaza in Natick, focused on the question, is education still the path to the dream?
Hi, my name is Joanne. I am very excited to be here, sharing my magic with you and with you, my studio audience. Let's have some fun.
I want them to dream big dreams for themselves, and they have the capabilities. Am I right?
Yeah.
They have the capabilities to get it done. So this is exciting to bring everybody together.
Number one, magazine. Oh, it's a great move. High to the hoop and good. Basketball, number 19.
Goes the other way. Anna Caravan takes it up and puts it in for two.
Many ways to say I love you.
והיובסק, אני אוהבת אתכם.
Я тебя люблю.
It is my pleasure to offer a free educational workshop on living debt-free and truly wealthy in the town of Framingham.
On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
As you just saw, Community Access TV lets the members of the community decide what they feel is important to cover. And many times, a camera is just set up to record or broadcast the event as is, and there is no editorial slant put on the event. The viewer is allowed to make their own interpretation regarding what they are seeing. These unfiltered messages are rapidly going away. Another important thing I think community television brings to the table is the opportunity to have a fair platform to speak out on local, state, or national government issues. The mainstream press, which depends upon ratings and circulation to fund their operations, have become more biased in their coverage. They have also been pressured by corporate parents to milk as much profit out of operations as they can, which has led to a lack of resources to properly tell the whole story.
In the old days, the number one mission of a news organization was reporting the news fairly. Now, the number one objective is making as much money as possible. And if they can enhance that profit by spinning a story in a certain direction, most of them will. It's the new normal. As a result, there are also a lot of stories that don't get told because they're not sexy enough. They don't lend themselves to cheap sound bites or aren't of interest to 20-something news writers. In many communities, those stories still need to be told, and community television is the last place available to tell them.
So we encourage you to get involved in your Community Access Center. AFTV is a place where you can tell your story about your community or about your organization and the great work you're doing in the community.
We are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Access Framingham with our 10-10-10 campaign of working with 10 organizations, one in each month over the next 10 months, that will culminate with a community celebration in August 2017 in Framingham Center. We kicked off the celebration with Pies on the Common as the first event, which included our purple red carpet runway and shout-outs from the community and a canned food drive. We look forward to seeing you at our next event, but in the meantime, we encourage you to celebrate Community Media Day by becoming a member at AFTV during the special $10 annual membership for new members and begin to tell your story.
As your Framingham Selectman, I will work hard to support the PEG channels in the Framingham community because, as you learned today, these channels are for you, and they're the only place where you can teach, inform, and entertain our community.
So we hope you enjoyed learning more about Community Media Day and Access Framingham's 10-year anniversary. For more information about AFTV and how to join, you can visit our website at www.accessfram.tv or call 508-875-5434.
To learn more about Free Speech Week and Community Media Day, as well as community access news and information, you can visit the Alliance for Community Media at www.allcommunitymedia.org.
Now, I want to thank my co-host, Cheryl Tully-Stowe, because it was a pleasure and an honor, so thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Scott. This was a lot of fun, and it was great to come back to AFTV.
And I learned a lot today as well. Now, as we say goodbye, we leave you with some more video of our many member programs and past productions from years past. Thank you for watching, and take care.
Discover Framingham, understand Framingham, and celebrate Framingham, then we felt our identity should be Access Framingham.